Okay, also just some further analysis there. I mean, look at Jeremy Webley, hasn't he? He's had a bit of an injury cloud from last week, but gee, hasn't he had an influential first quarter? He's leading from the front.
Well, he's injured all the time, Jeremy Webley, but he's a great coach. I talked to him after that Launceston game, and his take on his strategy of what he had to do was really good. So I think against North, you have to be well coached. It's the toughest road trip in the TSL to come up here, so he's obviously got a plan in place. It looks like they're trying to slow the ball up out of their defensive half. And when they're in forward half, they're trying to really move the ball quickly. They're looking like they maybe lack a tool forward to really attack and give them a contest. But in saying that, they're all about ball retention at the moment, and that's causing a low score. But that means they're winning. So I think they'd be pretty happy with where they're at the moment. They'll be trying to do much of the same.
What do you make of Taylor Williamson? He's a player that's really come on this year, and he's a real physical presence in that forward line, isn't he?
Well, he is, yeah. I think he's sort of floating around. Last time we saw him at half back a little bit. Yep. He can go forward. He's got a great set of hands. He's an interesting one. I haven't seen much of him in the past, but he stepped up to play TSL, and he's certainly been a factor for Clarence this year.
Baz, how are you seeing the first quarter?
Yes, I go along with Mitch. It's been quite scrambly, really. I mean, there's been flashes of good footy, but there's no doubt that Clarence want to slow the game up every time they do take possession anywhere in their back half. And they've taken everything down that outer wing in that opening quarter and then bringing it back in towards centre half forward. So I'll be interested to see their tactics in the second quarter, whether they come up this side of the ground or whether they go up through the corridor, because I think the breeze that's here is a little bit against the Invermay Park end, which North were kicking in that opening term. But for 1 and 2, it's just nobody giving anybody a millimetre or a centimetre to breathe even, and that's just the way it was in that opening term. A good hard contest with not all that flashy and open, but you'd expect as the game wears on, that sort of skills will come into this game.
We've got Alex Fitzgerald joining us now from KG5. He's keeping an eye on the Glenorchy North Hobart game for us today. Welcome, Alex.
Hey, Dave. How you going?
Not too bad. What's the score down there? I can see Glenorchy have got away to a fast start.
They have, Dave. Yeah, it's sort of been all of the hosts from the get-go. The Magpies are out of the blocks early and haven't been headed since then. They've kicked the only 7 goals of the first term, with the Demons yet to score.
Wow, that's a massive start, and of course percentage is very important today in that game. Just some of the goal kickers for us?
Yeah, we've got a host of single goal kickers, with Harry Parker tumbling through the last two to be the only person with multiple goals. And you've got Mitch Rainbird and Ryan Banks-Smith dominating to the midfield, assisted by Cameron Duffy, of course, one of the premier ruckmen in the comp, on fire this morning.
Cheers, mate. We'll get back to you at half time, and big start for the Magpies there.
Thanks, Dave. We'll speak to you soon.
No worries. So we've also got Adam Child down on the boundary line with Booney. So we'll get down to the boundary riders now, as we're not far away from the start. What do you got for us, boys?
We're not too far away from the start. Very quickly here, just come from the North Launceston huddle. Main message there was that the Clarence had 27 marks in space, so the defensive intent is something to focus on for this quarter. A couple of the other things there is that they need to make an impact on all contests is the key message from Taylor Whitford. The forwards need to play as forward and hold their positions. Now, Booney, what did you get out of the Clarence huddle?
Yeah, well, as you mentioned there, Warnie, they spoke about the uncontested marks as well, and we're happy with that, but said that's not going to happen for 4 quarters. They want to really concentrate on locking it inside the forward 50 when they get it there and work on their stoppage work, and particularly want to try and shut down Taron Thomas if they can.
Now, the temperature has dropped a couple of degrees, a little bit of breeze, but not too much. It won't impact the contest at all.
Cheers, boys. Thanks for your report there from the boundary. You're about to get underway in quarter number 2. Here's Barry Triffett.
Yes, and the 27 marks reflect the game plan that Clarence have gone out there with, just chipping it around and holding possession as the ball on this occasion goes in towards their half-forward line from the bounce down. Ends up there with Neild. He's under the pump though, and the ball goes in towards the boundary line there. Taken by Mansell. He handballs, but it's out of bounds, and there'll be a throw in about 40 metres around from the behind post. Invermay Park, end of the ground.
The other game, Baz, 7-2-44 Lauderdale, 3-4-22 the Tigers. Quarter time in the TSL.
Got another one for you too, boys. Tasmanian under-15 schoolboys team up at half-time at 31-13 against New South Wales. So a good start there.
Great stuff.
The throw in now. Boundary umpire, these days required to stand right on the line. Bit of a push and a shove there by Bailey, but the umpire allows it to go on, ends up with Whitford. Whitford gets it out to Tang. Tang handballs, and it's been intercepted there by Castle. Ball is taken by Clarence towards the half-forward line there with Cox. He gets it on a little bit further, but the whistle on play here, and there'll be a free kick to Williamson. And just outside 50, or just inside 50, the man on the mark And he will come back and I think probably have a deliberate shot. Been a lot of goals kicked out of this pocket in years gone by. The wind will push it a little bit when it gets up higher towards the top of the goalpost. To the right. In comes Taylor Williamson now. There's his kick and it does push it across, floats across towards the behind post on the far side and is thumped across the boundary line and it'll be thrown in right alongside of the behind post.
You're all over that, Baz. You know what the wind was doing there. You've had a few shots from there.
Once or twice. Nothing changes with the weather, does it?
He's seen a lot of footy here too. Yes.
And there's the throw in right alongside of the behind post. And Lee gets the tap down. Not decisive. Hurried attempt of the kick there by Clarence. Again, it's Scrabbly. It's inside. Jones has it. Kicks it with the left boot. It's still Scrambly. Taken away here, though, by Standen. Standen twists over the left boot and kicks it through for a goal. Much needed there for Clarence in the opening minutes of the second term. 2 minutes we've played, and Clarence moved to 3 goals, 18. 3 goals straight, 18. North Launceston 1-5-11.
He's still a class act, Trent Standen, isn't he?
In and around goals, mate, he's electric and he knows where they are. So handy inclusion back in the side recently.
Never forget that preliminary final. Baz was there. We were calling the game. Trent Standen, one of the best games I've seen. Western Saul versus Clarence, and Standen was on fire in that first quarter. I think he kicked 4 or 5.
Yeah, he heard us that day.
He did.
Just snuck across the line. It was a good game of footy, wasn't it?
It was indeed. We're 2.5 minutes into the second quarter. Clarence 3 straight 18. North Launceston 1-5-11. Thanks to our sponsors, Telstra Stores, Quadrant Mall and Kings Meadows. Andrew Doyle for your support as Cox comes blasting out of the middle. Gets it up towards Williamson, who takes a great mark. Plays on straight away. Has a player in support, which is Dickinson. Off the left foot, Ashton Dickinson. That's another one for the Clarence Roos. They're on fire here at UTAS Stadium early in the second quarter. And that was brilliant movement out of the centre. And it ended up with Dickinson, who scores the 4th goal for the Roos. Hilsey.
Oh, yeah, that was Cox. That was Jake Cox flying through the stoppage there off half-back. Ryan Mansell, direct opponent, about 10 metres in tow. So he won't be too happy with that one, I don't think. And that set up that little forward thrust and a great goal.
And Williamson involved again, Hilsey. He's had a couple of
well, I mentioned it
important
earlier.
possessions.
They seem to be lacking that target. And they've gone through him twice now for 2 goals. So it's effective having someone to kick the ball to.
2 goals in 3.5 minutes. The lead's out to 13 points. Can the Bombers reply? Falls to Walsh. He can't get an effective possession. It's a wrestle there in the middle. It'll be a secondary ball up as the umpire comes in. Umpire Guy there. Lee off the ground. On his far there's Fraser Turner, who's double teamed by Whitford and Cousins. Got a tough nuts in there. In fact, it was Walsh in there tackling Turner. Ball up, Lee gets it down to Walsh. Once again, he can't break free. We'll have another ball up. 4 straight, 24 Clarence, 1-5-11 North Launceston. Goals early on to Standen and Dickinson. Umpire Doyle raises the ball in the air. There's Robinson again. Sorry, Turner again. He's tackled to the ground. High tackle. Fraser Turner will get the free kick.
Just racks up the possessions. We probably could have had a stat on him too, mate. He gets a lot of the ball. His running ability is freaky.
Here's Williamson again over the top. Can't take the mark. Well done there to Mansell. Takes the spillage. Round the corner up the line here towards Egger with Holmes. 2 young guns go at it. Holmes wins out, does he? No, he doesn't. Egger's still in there. Ball up. About 70 out from the Northern Bombers goal. Only kicked the 1 goal so far, the Bombers. As Ryan Bailey does well, knocks it to space. Chance though off Whitford off the ground, up towards Tom Bennett. Gets a hand to it. In there is Egger once again. Off there towards Simpson. Little handball over the top. Brady Jones takes it. Kicks up the line. Lee thumps it nice towards Ponting. Ponting gets a kick to Bo Sharman. And here he should line up from about right on 50. And we know what a good left foot kick he is.
He's a favourite of yours, isn't he, Dave? Yep. You haven't called his name much today, but he's
been pretty quiet.
Terrific kick of the ball, so wouldn't put this past him at all.
Bo Sharman, recruited this year from the Devonport Football Club. He's 45-degree angle and will kick from just inside 50. They really need this one just to stem the tide a bit. Bo Sharman, that is a goal. Second one for the Bombers. 2-5-17. Clarence 4 goals straight, 24. And that's a nice little answer here for the Bombers to the early charge from Clarence.
Yeah, both shown 1 kick, 1 goal. You'll take that. So well done to him. Great kick for goal there. And he's been a pretty good pickup for them. And to pick up a player of his calibre, he's certainly going to help them later in the year in the finals, I would imagine.
6 minutes have elapsed in the second term. You're listening to live descriptions on City Park Radio, 96.5 and 103.7 FM. And the umpire is about to put ball back to turf again. In there doing the ruck work is Ryan Bailey for Clarence. And the big fella Alex Lee. Lee's getting a lot of the tap down, and this time it's much more decisive, but Clarence are up to the ball game. Ball goes to ground, and there's a free kick to the Clarence player that went to the ground on the bottom of the pack there. And the handball's out quickly. Gets it on to Chambers. Chambers kicks towards the big fella Bailey. There's Seymour gets it out a little bit wider now to Harper. Harper will kick it inside 50. There's a good lead up there and a good mark. And it's been taken by Jake Cox, one of the players in long sleeves today. And he will have a deliberate shot for goal. Now he's not deep in the forward pocket like the previous shot from this end of the ground. He's almost at 15 or 20 degrees at the most, and will kick from about 30 metres and shouldn't have too many problems here, you wouldn't think. Putting a major on the board for Clarence. They're 4 goals straight, 24. North at 2-5-17. 7.5 minutes into this, the second term. And there's his kick straight through the big opening. And Clarence 5 straight goals, 30. And they lead the Bombers 2-5-17.
Quiet first quarter for Cox, but he's come to life in the second quarter, Hillsy.
Yeah, well, he's a really smart footballer. Playing against him a number of times. He's very smart, and he turns 1 into 2 often. So Ryan Mansell obviously got the job on him, and it's a big job. He's taking him to the goal square here to isolate, and he's really got to stand up here, Ryan.
Massive start for Glenorchy still. It's 8-6-54-0 at KG5, and at Lauderdale it's 50-22, the Bombers in front. An AFL update in a moment there from Hillsy. As back in the middle it is. Ryan Bailey does well. Athletically gets high, gets the tap away. Only as far there as Simpson, who's tackled. And quite a healthy Clarence contingent of supporters here today. Just down here below us. Hillsy, what do you got for us?
The Pies have hit back. It's 6-2-38 Richmond to 5-1-31. So 7.
Again, that was a beautiful kick in his direction. Low left foot pass. And Cox has another opportunity.
Out of the court.
A little bit.
Northern centre of the and fairly wide there now to Keegan Wiley. He goes out. Light breeze, but it's heading pretty well directly across. Now it ends up with Ponting. Ponting has the ball. just out. His teammate running through here has been pushed. Yeah, and the boundary umpire will throw it right in front of the broad. Guess on ball out of the ruck. He was get it to his boot. Couldn't do so. And boot kick. Three goals, one in this quarter so far to be
right near the versus Brisbane. Hilsey, take that one on notice for the next stoppage.
Yeah,
Goes back. No, well, quick kick out. Luckily, kicks it. Him back. We've got Whitford taking the
off in it. So obviously Taryn's got one behind the ball here. Oh, he was
back into the back pocket.
And he felt like he had to get it.
Now the game. That's a 5. And we're back in the middle with Barry Triffett.
Yeah. Exactly. For those taps. There now, but ends up eludes one player, then gets it on to Don. Northern Bomb all over. It'll be a free kick. Bannister had the ball knocked away from him, taken down in towards half forward. Richter Solder now will chip over the top. The Northern Bombers opportunity to go out through in towards Whitford. Too long for that player. Holmes is over the back. Handballs to nobody in particular. I think he might have run out of bounds in even trying to do that handball, and there'll be a free kick to him. Holmes, they must have done something to him after he delivered the ball with the handball. I looked to see where the ball was going. No, it's going now to another Clarence player. Is that Matt Ling back there, I believe? There's his kick anyway. It's certainly a Clarence free kick. The ball is in front of the scoreboard side here. Taken away there by Jones. Jones kicks towards the interchange area, and it beats Ashton Dickinson across the line out of bounds. There'll be a throw in centre wing broadcasting side of the ground at the 16.5 minute mark. Clarence 31, North Launceston 23.
But impressed with Ben Simpson today, Hilsey. He's had a fair bit of it.
He's been aggressive, hasn't he? He's just a young kid. He's thrown his weight around there throughout all the game we've seen so far. And he's had plenty of the ball, and he's been good around the stoppages, so pretty impressed with his start.
Played in a premiership team this year with Scotch Oakburn and the independent schools competition. Strong tackle laid there by Harper on Tang. Ball up just to the adjacent to the centre square. Umpire Doyle throws it aloft. There's in fact what I've got shepherding here in the ruck contest against Connor Young. It's going to young Harry Richmond. So Richmond, little chip kick up here looking for Williamson. He's against 3, clears the pack, goes the boundary line, and we've got Adam Child down in the boundary. Warnie, what do you got for us?
Yeah, just want to say from ground level here, we're seeing pretty much at every opportunity Taryn Thomas is copying a little bit from the Clarence players. So, yeah, it's one to watch there. They're definitely targeting him at every stoppage and even off the ball.
Okay, a bit of physical pressure there. Thanks for that, Warnie. Warnie will be joining Jay Foon at half-time for an interview. As over the back now is Ponting. Little handball to Connor Young, who's got some space. Big kick up to half-forward. Bannister, the only one at home. Good work there from Castle. Bannister and Castle. Bannister tries to kick it out of mid-air. Gets as far as Egger. Still in contest here on attacking 50. Egger emerges. Ryan Mansell turns. As he waited the kick, he has beautifully. And finds Tom Bennett. About 15 metres out for goal. Over the top. Goal in the goal square. Jake Pearce. And that's another goal to the Bombers. And great movement there from half-back. Sparked there by Connor Young. Long kick. And Ryan Mansell did well to spot up a target in Tom Bennett. And over the top, and Jake Pearce gets the 4th goal for the Northern Bombers, and they're right back in it, Hilsey.
There's a bit more going on here. Ryan Mansell's done a little flop and got a free, I think, downfield. So undisciplined act from Clarence again. They've played really good footy, and they're letting North back in at the wrong time just before half-time.
Well, Mansell kicks it towards Bennett. It's too long for that player, though. It'll go out of bounds, and there'll be a throw-in right alongside, halfway between the goal post and the 50-metre semicircle. All players stopped. I don't think anybody knows what's happening at the moment.
Funny old game at the minute.
It's a big game. Little spot fires everywhere, and certainly making it more interesting, that's for sure. And Clarence will be just really disappointed they've let North sort of back in general play and on the scoreboard here. So had control of the game.
Yes, they've almost
found
a free kick in that rucking, Jill, and you see that happen all day, every day. And there'll be a free kick back there to the Clarence player. He marks strongly on 50. Half-back.
Jeez, you're hot on the
now
whistle.
Another 50.
It's against Simpson.
They're trying to...
No, it was...
The most... showing that they're in charge of the game. We're going to stop all the silly business that's going on, and people want to be stupid. And there's the he marks just outside 50, kicks in towards Williams. And it's young Fletcher Seymour, who hails from the north of the state. And there's his kick now towards the at the 21.5 minute mark.
Both teams would love a bit of a break.
Wrong. The fellow that nominated is going to ruck it.
Yeah, he's kicked a goal himself in this quarter. Alex Lee's got it. Uncharacteristically. Back to the players on, penetrating kick. Took it beautifully, almost side on when he took the grip on the ball.
Hopefully.
5-1-31. It's been a very intriguing.
Clarence really had control in the game.
Has he marked it in? Ball goes to ground level. Big pack forms a bit 20 metres out from the goalpost. Nobody's allowed to show any flip. 5-1, 31, 27 minutes. Back of the pack, the Clarence Park. Boys are hurt down there. We'll get back to that in a moment.
That he plays nowadays, so having to work through. Free kick paid.
So, yep. Now something's being paid. And it's going to be a Ryan Young. He's a Russell has got surrounded by
pain in the bum and really niggle and
from the Northern Bombers. They lead by and Bart McCulloch. Tarrant
when we play against Clarence.
North of 10 points up, so
I reckon they're probably just missing you in defence at the moment. So take us through last week.
yeah, I'll miss probably the next 3 weeks, which is good. So
I guess after that sort of next 3 weeks, again this year, but if not, we'll be right.
Feeling now, so I reckon I'll just tell them to go back to basics and just clean their act up a bit.
I've been watching. There's a bit of niggle, as we've seen, but yeah,
He might drop his game a little bit, but
probably a couple of Clarence blokes that we all know who are giving that niggle. Thanks, guys.
That's get a short break here from UTAS Stadium on City Park Radio. We're back in just a moment. We'll hear from
struggled at times in that opening quarter and got a little bit better in that second quarter, but you'd think they need to come out now and really take it up to Clarence and get a substantial lead at three-quarter time.
Yes, 5 goals to 3 in that second quarter, and Clarence got out to a handy lead there, Hilsey, but North just showed their little bit of class. They came back and they go into half-time with 10 points in advance.
I guess the worrying sign for Clarence is that we feel like North haven't really played that well. We haven't really seen that what we've come to expect from them with their ball movement. Their clearance work's been, on par, I guess, with what you'd expect, but nothing extraordinary, whereas they've gone in the break 10 points up, head full of steam just after a little bit of a scuffle before the break. And Clarence, well, we thought we saw some really good footy. Some of their better players playing really well. They did tighten up around the clearances and start to win in that area, or start to at least break even and hold the ball inside 50. But then they go into the break half-time 10 points down, and I think you might see North run over the top of them. We'd hope to see a tight contest, but for them to sort of get back into this game, you think they need to get their hands on the footy around the contest and lock it in their forward half, and probably just go back to playing football rather than playing their man.
Well, when you think about it, Mitch, North kicked that, or through Bennett, kicked that goal after the siren. So if he'd have missed that, it would only be, 5 points the difference. And, that's not so bad, is it?
That's it. That's just this is little things in games, isn't it? Especially the first versus second, little things like that. And a few undisciplined acts crept in with Clarence, and that could be the difference in the game in the end.
Tom Bennett, he sort of goes about his business, doesn't he? We take it for granted, but gee, he's had a big game so far, a couple of big marks inside 50, and same with Bart. So that could be a big factor as the time goes on. They've got those marking targets inside forward 50, the Bombers. Yeah,
I mentioned during the call, I feel like that could be the difference in the game. It's a bit of an arm wrestle between the arcs at the moment. When there is clear possession, North have those really good marking targets to go to, whereas going inside 50 for Clarence is a little bit more of a struggle. They like to get the ball on the ground a little bit more scrappy and sort of try and generate goals that way. But I think as the game wears on, the tall forwards only get taller, and they've got a clunk a few. It's good to see Bart take a nice clunk there and goal as well.
And of course, the X factor for Clarence is Jake Cox. He bobbed up a couple of times in that second quarter, and he's a player that the Bombers will have to watch.
Yeah, but they rely on those midfielders kick goals, don't they? And Cox is, as I mentioned, a smart footballer, and he probably should have finished off with that other goal. He had a little patch there where he really got the scruff of the game, and they were ahead well and truly. So it'd be good to see him be able to go back through the midfield and get his hands on it, and also sneak forward as well. I thought some of the better players through that quarter, I thought Jones and Webley were really good.
Yep.
Keegan Wiley. The interesting one, I think you were going to ask me, Dave, was about the ruck duel. So Bailey for Clarence, I thought his second quarter was a lot better. Lee is a terrific ruckman. I've had to ruck against him many times, and he's improved out of sight over the last couple of years. His tap work in the ruck is really good, but I think Bailey's been able to sort of nullify it a little bit there, especially in the second quarter. So just sort of jumping into him and taking his leap away.
See Brad Cox-Goodyear down in front of us there with Scotty Stevens, and it's a bit of hamstring tightness apparently with Cox-Goodyear, so hopefully it'll be just a week. He's back in great form last week. He kicked a big bag down there at Glenorchy, so they've probably missed his influence a bit today, as you would with the reigning Alistair Lynch medalist.
Yeah, I think you chuck in Cox-Goodyear, potentially Couch when it matters later on. Who else they got? Foon. I don't know. If we'll see him back or not. Hopefully we do. I think there's some class players to bring back in, and it's going to be tough to beat later on, I think, boys.
Warnie is down there talking to one of the assistant coaches, I see, and might get some information from him in just a moment. And Craig Boone, I think Craig's been down to the Clarence rooms. They'll be in touch in just a moment. North Launceston are back on the ground, going through their warm-ups. We didn't notice any real injury concerns to either team at half-time. We saw Taron Thomas go down there, perhaps winded at one stage, and it was a big clash between Zach Burt and Connor Young, but the Bombers and Clarence seem to be unscathed through half-time. As we've got Warnie down on the boundary line with Craig Boone. Warnie, you've been in the North Launceston rooms.
I have been in there. They were pretty much behind closed doors for most of the time, so didn't get a hell of a lot out there. But I think they've come out with a little bit of vigour. They want to pretty much take what happened there just before the siren, or just after the siren, at half-time, to come out and stamp their authority on this game, but obviously not wanting to do anything too stupid as well. I just had a chat to Will Tatcher, who's a bit fired up actually about sort of the proceedings and certain players out there for Clarence, and especially too, like with the umpires, just having that control over the game, because they seem to be pretty young umpires that we've got here today, and we're seeing, those little spot fires, and that's where that erupted at the end. So Clarence are now just running out on the ground, but Bernie was able to get in there. And what did you get out of the Clarence rooms at halftime?
Yeah, unfortunately didn't get a lot, Warnie. They left it till very late in the piece to go in behind closed doors, so Jeremy Webley left them to their own devices for a fair bit, and just told them to keep moving around, keep warm. So obviously doing a fair bit of planning, because he was in and out of the planning room a lot, but then just took them in just as a first siren, actually went as a warning for them that they didn't have too long left. But just one thing, just as a bit of an aside, the guys had a liking for my red and black jacket at quarter time. I was getting a few questions there, and I got a bit of a stare there from Jeremy. A bit of a withering stare, but he was good enough to apologise at quarter time when he worked out, at half time I should say, when he worked out that I was with City Park Radio, but I had to quickly point to the logo at quarter time, because there's a few people thinking there's a North Launceston spy in the midst, but if I think I was going to be a spy, I think I'd be a bit less obvious than wearing a black and red top and carrying clipboard, but there you go.
Bernie is considering wearing a bright fluoro yellow top next time, just to make sure that he's right, but then he might even cop it as an umpire then, so that wouldn't have been a good thing to go into either of these rooms either. So at the moment, nice. It was overcast here. It is a little bit chilly. As talking to Jay Food after the interview there, he's walking around in shorts, and he says it's not normally this cold while he's out there playing. So it's a little bit chilly, but the breeze is still a little bit towards the city end of the ground, but not too much to worry about as we get ready for the second half here. And a beautiful football afternoon. It's midwinter, and this is what it's all about.
Warnie, any quick fantasy news from today's games?
I just had a quick look at the scores before, and I've brought in Patrick Dangerfield in the last couple of weeks, and he's struggling a little bit, so hopefully he can lift for me. That's an important thing. But anyway, that's where we are. I'm right in the top four of my finals, so I'm ready to rock and roll and take all comers next week.
No worries. You can hear the boys on AFL Fantasy Hour on Monday at 6 o'clock and also Thursday at 6 o'clock. So tune into the boys there. Thanks, Warnie, and thanks, Bernie.
Thanks, boys.
That's the boys down there on the boundary. We're almost set to go in the third quarter. North Launceston 6-5-41, Clarence 5-1-31. It's a 10-point margin. And just quickly, those other scores in the TSL. It's an 87-point lead to North Hobart at half-time. Sorry, to Glenorchy at half-time, and it's a 33-point lead to Lauderdale also at half-time. City Park Radio 96.5, 103.7, and the TSL live stream. Here's Barry Triffett as we're going to get a secondary ball up.
Yes, secondary ball up in the third term, and the breeze may have just got up a little bit during that break, but it's still heading predominantly across the ground, but it's taken away now by Bannister for the Northern Bombers. Kicks deep in towards Thomas, and Thomas floats into the forward pocket and marks on his chest and will turn around and line up for goal here for the Northern Bombers. Now, if he kicks this will be a terrific opening in this third term. The Premiership quarter referred to, and this will give them real hope and joy, you would think. And as we've mentioned over the half-time break, he's been one of the targets from the Clarence entourage. And there's his kick now. It floats across the face of goal and through for a minor score only. 12 points the margin. North 6-6-42. Clarence 5-1-31. We've played just 3/4 of a minute in this, the second term. So they'll work the ball round the scoreboard side of the ground. They fumbled, and McCulloch got back in, and Thomas receives the handball from him. He kicks the boomerang inside out and kicks it straight across the face of goal, out of bounds on the far side.
A couple of interesting efforts there from Tarrant. He's very, very, very handy around goals normally, so two misses that you'd normally chalk down for a goal for him.
I haven't seen him. This is the first time I've seen him play misses. He uses his left foot very often because he appears on occasions he should.
Generally doesn't need to. He sort of just seems like he's got a couple of extra seconds and finishes off normally a lot better than that.
Yeah, because I'd have thought then probably the left boot was the better option, but the ball's been kicked in anyway, and there's a free kick here to a Clarence player who's on the bottom of the pack, and we'll just wait for him to get up, and it's Chambers. And the umpires really will show their authority here, I think. And as they've done right throughout the game so far, Clarence, they elect to take the ball back towards Edmondson at full-back, swing it right around the outer back flank and kick it towards Holmes, one of their better players. But interfering with that kick is Walsh. Walsh for North Launceston Bombers lines up from 50 metres and kicks that out of bounds on the full. 3 opportunities for the Bombers in the opening 2 minutes of the third term, and they've kicked one behind from those 3 shots at goal. Could have been anything. Could have been really stitching up the game early in the third term, but they're not. They're still leaving Clarence in with some hope. Jones runs onto it with skills only, gets it out to Weberley. He gets it off to his teammate going through there. He's under the pump. Ball's been turned over. Whitford takes it, and he's thrown to the ground as it goes onto the boot and out of bounds deep in the forward pocket. Northern Bombers have had all the attack in this 2.5 minutes of the third term and have managed just one behind.
Hillsy, positive start from the Bombers?
No, it's a bloody average start from everyone at the moment. There's some shocking skill errors, especially from Clarence. I guess North will be happy to have the scoring attempts, but they could be well in front at the moment.
As it's towards the boundary line, Cunliffe is there. Can't gather it in. So shallow boundary throw in. We'll set up again. Just about on the attacking 50 for North Launceston. They lead by 11 points. They'll just kick the one behind. So Clarence yet to score in this third quarter. Boundary throw in. Jason Bailey and McCulloch. Jason Bailey does well, but only towards the advantage of North Launceston play. Releases a handball to Walsh. Further afield to Mansell. Mansell goes short and finds McCulloch. Too far out to score. Couple of kicks out from goal. Right on the boundary line. Right-hand side in front of the scoreboard. Goes inside 50. There's going to be a contest here with Bannister. Nearly takes the mark. It's a shot for goal. There from Egger. And it's one behind. So another minor score to North Launceston, 6-7-43, 5-1-31, 13 scoring shots to 6. As here comes Tim Castle from defence, goes long. Players flying to great mark Bannister. He's looking fired up in this third quarter, pumps it inside 50 to the goal square. Bennett has taken another mark. Tommy Bennett, one of the best on the ground for mine, has marked about 15 out right in front. He set himself beautifully for that mark, and it was all set up from another strong mark, Hillsy, by Dakota Bannister.
He's done it a bit today, hasn't he, Bannister? Yep. He's got good hands overhead, and he's strong in the marking contest, and I think Bennett went up unopposed there, 10 metres out from goal, so poor defence. It's been a pretty average start from Clarence.
Bennett for his third. That's no problem. 3 in a row now for Tom Bennett, and all of a sudden the Bombers are out 7-7-49 to 5-1-31.
It's all about that intent, I guess, when you come back out after half-time, and North seem to have genuine intent to attack and be physical, and Clarence look like they're still in the rooms at the minute.
Yes, and as I said, Tom Bennett, I think he's kicked the last 3 goals of the game. He kicked one at the 23-minute mark of the second quarter, 30-minute mark, and now one at the 4.5-minute mark of the third quarter. Thanks to our sponsors, Telstra Stores, Quadrant Mall and Kings Meadows. You listen to City Park Radio, and the TSL live stream is Barry Triffett.
And the ball was bounced awkwardly, but the umpire allows to play on, ends up with Ponting. Ponting handballs, and it's Cousins, but he can't take possession of it. Still North Launceston Bombers still have the ball, but an Australia handball goes to Jones of Clarence, kicks it inside 50, bounces awkwardly. Here comes Rick DeSolder, sockers it off the ground, gets it on a little bit further there to Sharman. Sharman gets the hand out to Ponting. Ponting hands off to Donnelly. Donnelly on the left boot, and it's a shocking old kick. Bounces awkwardly for his teammate in Bennett. The ball goes towards the boundary line. Clarence players, I think, have made sure that it goes across in front of the interchange bench, and there'll be a throw-in right in front of the broadcasting position. 5 3/4 minutes into the third term. That's the first time the Clarence have looked like going into attack in this third term. They trail 31-49. Live descriptions on City Park Radio. The ball's been thrown in and tapped away by Bailey. Goes to ground level there now, where it's taken by Sharman again. All North Launceston players been thrown to the ground. The umpire allows play on though, as it's taken by Turner, and he's kicked it out of bounds on the full, which he's done on 2 or 3 occasions. He's hugged the boundary line, and this time it's taken by the little fella in Ryan Mansell. He gets it on there now to Sharman. Bo Sharman has about his 3rd possession in the last 30 seconds. This one's a long left foot raking kick towards the half forward line. Bannister's the target, but standing his ground in front there was Ryan Edmondson, taking a nice strong mark for the Roos across half-back. Now what will they do? Will they just bottle it up? He wants to. He's got nobody there, but he goes right back into the goal square. Will they persist in doing this? Obviously something they talked about prior to the game, and they've done it nearly every time they've taken possession on their half-back line. I don't know that it's working for them. They probably need to try and find something else. The kick goes to Weberly, who's quite often the target. This time it's thumped away from him in front of the scoreboard. There'll be a throw-in, and it's about 60 metres around from the Northern Bombers goal line.
We can see that Clarence are trying to really switch the ball, so that when they get it half back, they're looking to open up the other side of the ground with a big long switch, but they are doing it in a real negative way, as you mentioned a number of times, Baz. They're going back to the goal square, and it gives the North opposition, able to press up and put pressure on that next kick, which they're not able to execute. So they probably need to be a little bit more attacking with their switch of play.
As it's now with the Clarence players, Ryan Bailey, funny old Torp up the wing, and a nice mark there, uncontested. Arian Richter Solder, chip kick to Ponting's had a fair bit of it today. He's very efficient every week, gets a lot of it. Kicks inside 50. That's a poor kick on this occasion, and James Holmes, one of the outstanding young players in the comp, takes the mark. He gets by hand now. Here they go. Tim Castle on the last line of defence, or it might be Bailey. He kicks. He gets knocked off it, so it's misdirected. Fletcher Bennett tries to get it to Tom Bennett, who dives on it. Shovels out a handball. Brady Jones is in there, close to the boundary line. They pick it up, Clarence. Turner gets it towards Dickinson, who takes the mark. Kicked a goal earlier in the day. Ashton Dickinson. Dicky little kick over the top, and the mark's taken. And that's Jared Harper. Strong attention there from McCulloch. The switch is on this time to Holmes, where he goes further. Over there looking for Seymour. Fletcher Seymour, state cricketer, goes wide. Mark taken by Alex Silver, kicked the first goal of the game. Over here now, and the mark's taken by Speedy Standen, right on the boundary line.
That was better switch of play. They didn't go as far back. They went a little bit more lateral and sideways, and they were able to move it out the outer side, and they had numbers out. So they got inside 50 with 2 kicks rather than going back to the goal square.
We know the class of Trent Standen, and this is not beyond him. For our radio listeners, he's going to deliver from 45 out, pretty much on the boundary line. Skips in now, inside the 50 for goal. Trent Standen. Umpire moves to his right, signals one behind. Just a second behind today for Clarence. They're 5-2-32. North Launceston 7-7-49. 9 minutes in. Got 2 footies on the ground as a helicopter in the distance, flying over the Inverest precinct. And we've got a turnover, and Chris Neal slams it straight into the left-hand goalpost. I took my eyes off the helicopter. Hillsy tells me what happened.
Well, he tried to take him on. I'm not sure he was kicking out there. He was at Richter
Solder,
Solder, and he tried to take him on, and he got caught. He slipped over.
He's not slipping over this time. He's kicked it 60 metres out of defence towards the outer back flank on the railway side of the ground, taken away by Ponting. He's set upon, but Event gets the ball now for Northern Bombers, gets it on to Bart McCulloch. The big fella marks on centre wing, far side of the ground, looks for Thomas downfield. Oh, Skills, beautiful Skills. Then he was outpointed, and all of a sudden he just swung into position, chipped it over the top looking for Sharman, who's been terrific in the third term.
Oh.
Kicks it on a little bit further to Edgar, and Edgar marks 25 metres out directly in front.
That was evidence of the difference between the two teams. You came to the game knowing you're looking at the list of players. There's just got class throughout the list in North Lonnie, whereas you feel that Clarence maybe just dip off after those top 5 or 6 a little bit too steeply. The disposal efficiency from one end to the other, we've seen it a number of times, but they look like they're alive North after half time, and there's some great skill level there.
Well, Edgar has been a good player the last 2 or 3 times I've watched North Launceston. He's a good contributor. There's his kick, and he's kicked that off the side of the boot and just manages to get through for a minor score. And we should mention that turnover that happened down here. Chris Nield really should have kicked a goal.
Yep.
He was only about 15 metres out. He banged the ball hard onto his boot and it went off the side.
He snapped the post.
Yes, exactly. There's the kick in, and it goes where Bart McCulloch. I thought he marked that. Yes, he did.
I think it's Lee, Baz.
Oh, it's Lee, yes. Yep. Both about 10 foot 17. There's his kick, and it goes into the corner there where Seymour. No. Can't pick that player up back there. That's marked it for Clarence. He's right in the last line.
It's like Castle, I think, Baz.
Castle.
No, it's Bailey. Sorry.
Bailey, yes. Yep. There's his kick out, and he's kicked it towards half-back on the far side of the ground, taken by Event. The old 1-2, gets it back. Handballs back a little bit further. Richter Solder with the long raking left boot, kicks inside 50. Thumped away by the defence of Clarence. Ball goes to ground level, a couple of players, but it's thrown out to the outer side of the ground towards the boundary line, and that's where it'll end up, across that boundary line, right on the 50-metre semicircle. There'll be a throw-in at the 11.5-minute mark of the third term. Clarence are 33, they're trailing North Launceston 50. North Launceston kicking to the Invermay Park end in the third term.
17-point margin. Boundary throw-in, falls a bit short. Over the back, handball top there by Harper. Standing kick to the wing. Williamson there, front position, claims the mark, gets the handball away. Contest is important. Richter Solder up the ground a bit. It's out of bounds. In front of the Eid wing, as it's called over there on Hawthorn days. My seat is just about in that bay where the boundary throw-in is. Love it over there.
The Fosmore seat.
Yep. E43, I think it is. Boundary throw-in. Lee up against Ryan Bailey. Falls to front to Sharman to Lee. Lucks a fortune to Pontings, held by one arm, gets a kick away. Oh, Edgar flies from behind, can't take it. Mark Walsh sees it over the boundary, so it's still over that far side. Railway wing, in front of the where the can bar is on AFL days. Margin is 17 points. We'll have Alex Fitzgerald again at three-quarter time. Massive margin there at KG5. Glenorchy and North Hobart. Comes down from the ruck contest, taken by Ryan Bailey. Now to Thomas, though. He sharks it. Off the chest of Pearce. Mark Walsh is in there. Dives on Brady Jones. And it's wrestled to a standstill. So just a quiet passage of play here. Only one goal in this quarter to North Launceston. They led by 10 points at halftime. It's now out to 17 points. 13 minutes gone. As Lee gets the tap out. Winning a lot of them today. Dave Gruber's stats would suggest. And
plenty of stoppages, boys, isn't there?
Inside 50s this quarter, Ilsey.
What do we got here? Inside 50s, we got 9-2 North Launceston's way.
Right, they just probably haven't capitalised on that. There's kicked by Cunliffe. Still at half back for Clarence. Little handball over the top. Can they get something going here? It's a bit of a torp. Good mark in front. Richter Solder. Mark will free kick. Play on to advantage. Probably a free kick as Burt now goes sideways to Callum Harrison. Late inclusion for Cox Goodger. Comes here towards Tang. Pacey player. Does he get away from Castle? Not quite. But he does get the handball away to Event on the left foot. Awkward kick. Chaos ball. Holmes is there. Chance for North Launceston if they can get possession. Well done, Fraser Turner. Swings the kick up the wing. Chance here for Event, who takes a very strong mark.
He's played pretty well in this third term. Event, there he's kicking it now, pinpointing the pass in towards half forward where Sharman, who's also been a good contributor in the third term, marks safely on the chest. Looks for Ponting, it's thumped away from him. There's plenty of defenders back there, but Ponting butted up quickly and tackled the Clarence player. It ends up back there with the Sharman. Ball goes to ground level. It's kicked off the pack there by Turner. And Turner's kick is a wobbly old thing out of defence, but it finds Jeremy Webley on half-back. And he elects to switch it and go across the ground. Puts his teammate under the pump. Thumped away by the North Launceston players. At ground level, there's a free kick. Then he plays advantage, and then the player stops, so the umpire says you can still play on. It ends up back with Webley after all that. Gets it on a little further out there to the far side, and Clarence going towards the centre wing on the far side. It's getting quite dark now, and the things keep flicking on the fence over there. And
lost Baz.
Yes. Anyway, there's the kick now coming in towards the half-forward line, and Burt, the big strong player, can't mark it. At ground level, taken away by the Clarence player who gets it on to Dickinson. He's set upon, he's thrown to the ground, dropping the ball surely. There'll be a free kick to the Bombers on half-back. And it looks like the coach himself in Taylor Whitford with the ball there at half-back.
Really, tackling intensity's gone up, Ilsey.
Yeah, the intensity and the intent of North, as I mentioned earlier, has gone up. They're really lacking a target to kick to, Clarence. They cannot get the ball past halfway, and when they do, they turn it straight over.
Well, the ball's on centre wing, far side of the ground. The boundary's the winner. It'll be a throw-in. North Launceston a 7-8-50. Clarence a 5-3-33. 16 minutes have elapsed in the third term. You're listening to live descriptions on City Park Radio, 103.7, 96.5. And the voice you're about to hear is that of Dave Moore.
As the boundary throwing comes into Alex Lee. He wins another tap. It's a bit of a negative situation, though, as players dive on the ball.
Everyone will be listening, watching us guys, but if you weren't, you might have been watching the Tigers versus the Pies, and just before three-quarter time, the Tigers are up by 5. Very good game.
All right, it's a close one there. Also close down at GMBHA Stadium. As the kick comes out of bounds on the full. And they'd love some of the play to come over this side because the binoculars are getting a workout here. Looks like it might be a boundary throw-in after all that. Umpires in discussion. Jake Cox has the ball. He hands it over to the boundary umpire. So right on centre wing here, railway wing. And when I was younger, there was cars over that side of the ground at York Park.
Cars?
Yep.
Wow.
As I remember that. Here comes now Whitford to Mansell. Mansell towards Tang. He's tackled straight away. Ball released. Jake Cox. Chain of handballs. Kick towards half forward.
This is where they've struggled over and over again. Just at half forward, no target.
Marked by Callum Harrison. Harrison goes wide. He's got a couple of targets. One of those is Ponting. I loved his game today, Ilsey. As he gets the handball off now to Cousins.
Noted, Dave.
Cousins up towards full forward to Bannister. Oh, getting a hand in there was McCulloch. Can he follow it up? He can. Left foot shot for goal. Soccer style from about a metre inside the line. And he followed up his work there. He got the spoil away. Followed it up and kicked it off the ground. And Baz, that's 2 goals now, is it? For Bart McCulloch. North Launceston 8-8-56. Clarence 5-3-33. I think we've got the biggest margin of the game right now.
As we suspected, North is starting to run away with it a little bit now, and they're getting their hands on it a lot more. They feel like they're in control of this game, and it's going to be up to Clarence to sort of wrestle back control and be a little bit more attacking in the way they're going about it.
Great running there from Cousins. He breaks the lines, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
Player.
He's actually had a good day today. He does break the lines, and they've got a few that are doing that today.
So we've played 18 minutes in this third term, and they bounced down. It's not all that good. They found a free kick. That'll save the umpire having to throw it up again, and it's gone to Simpson of the Bombers. He kicks it high and long inside 50. Bart McCulloch pushed a couple of players out of defence there. Holmes throws himself on the ground. Battled hard all day for the Clarence combination, and the umpire is forced to bounce it up just inside the 50-metre semicircle, heading to the Invermay Park end. He's done about 4 or 5 directions. You make a good point, policeman, as he throws the ball in the air. There's the ball, comes out and away on the outer side there now goes Cunliffe. And the umpire has found a freak. I watched where the ball was going. He's got to bring it all the way back, and there's a North Launceston free kick. Well, there's been a bit of technicality in the umpiring today. Dakota Bannister is the player with it anyway for the Bombers. He kicks it higher than he does longer. Almost a Bart McCulloch mark, but it's socked through by the defence back there of Cox for Clarence, and there'll be a minus score to the Northern Bombers. Doing all the attacking pretty well in this third term, and they probably should have kicked another couple of goals. The kicking, though, ends up with Fraser Turner, one of the better players for Clarence. He's just inside his defensive back 50. And he's kicked, though. He wrapped them up. What do they do? He's kicked it straight to Bo Sharman. Sharman eludes a player, runs onto his left boot and then kicks it towards the half forward. Bart McCulloch almost takes a mark. Thomas swoops on it. Bannister's there as well. Dakota Bannister chips it over the top, and there's Edgar, runs onto it at the goal line and bangs it through for the Northern Bombers. 9-9-63. They're starting to stitch this one up now deep into the third term. Clarence a 5-3-33.
The two big fellas almost sport each other there, Bart and Tom Bennett, but they had enough players at the fall to capitalise.
They're looking a lot more potent and dangerous up forward, aren't they? They've got those two big fellas that are providing that contest and plenty of guys crumbing at the front fall of the ball. So Eggers kicked that one over to Invermaid Park for it to go and get during the week.
I've seen Egger get by himself a couple of times in forward 50. He did it then. He took an easy mark where he should have scored the goal a bit earlier. But just seems to be elusive.
He's elusive. He's got Holmes on him. He's a good young defender, but maybe Holmes is trying to be a little bit too attacking and forgetting his opponent.
Margin 31 points. We'll go around the grounds to the TSL in just a sec as Ryan Bailey gets out of the middle to Chris Neal, back to Webberley. Kicks off a step inside 50. Chance here for, that's Jason Bailey, who's been moved forward, the number 29. He takes the mark. He's right on 50. It'll take a good roost from there. I had to look twice there for a moment, so maybe a change there, Hilsey.
Yeah, well, we called for it, didn't we?
Yep.
They do need a target, and he is good above his head. Tough kick for goal here, though.
So good work out of the centre there from the Roos. Here comes Jason Bailey. Kicks from just outside 50. Gets good distance on the kick. I think he's got it. Yep, no problem there for Jason Bailey.
It's a great roost, wasn't it?
It was indeed, and that's the one they needed, Clarence, to get themselves back in the game. 6-2-38 to North Launceston at 9-9-63. Just go through the other scores just while I've got them in front of me here. Glenorchy 17-13-1-15. North Hobart 3 behind 3 points. And at Lauderdale, it's Lauderdale 13-7-85. The Tigers 6-11-47. Okay, Hilsey, they've shaken up a bit. That was a good move.
Well, big. It was in desperate need of a goal, Clarence. So that little move's paid off, and if they can move the ball quickly to Bailey and isolate him, he's going to be effective forward. Another one here for, sorry Baz, to interrupt, was Tasmania getting across the line against New South Wales and the under-15 schoolboys today. So a good win there, and their third win of the carnival, which is pretty impressive.
They've been playing well, haven't they? They had a real huge win there a couple of days ago. The ball's gone out of bounds here, by the way. That's why we're just talking at the moment. Well, it's not out of bounds. It's now being brought back. I tell you what, there's been, I've got to say, some unusual free kicks. And there it is in centre field, Clarence. They have the ball. And there's the kick by the goal kicker in Bailey in towards half forward. And a nice, strong tumbling mark to Ashton Dickinson as marked right inside 50. What an opportunity for Clarence in the dying minutes of the third term to kick 2 in the space of about 45 seconds. As Dickinson will line up deliberately. There'll be no breeze affecting him whatsoever. Every opportunity here now to reduce the margin. They're 39-63 at the moment. Here's the Ashton Dickinson kick. Taking plenty of time. Steadies, kicks. Umpire doesn't move, just flex the muscles. And that means 2 arms come forward. And that's the 7th goal for Clarence. 7-3-45. North Launceston 9-9-63, 23 minutes third term.
See quite a few involvements today, Ashton Dickinson. Handy player.
He's one I haven't seen much of, Dave. I don't follow them all that closely, Clarence, throughout the year, but he's been pretty good, hasn't he?
Yep.
He's their first multiple goal kicker. He's kicked 2, 1 in the second and 1 in this third term.
So all of a sudden, it looked like it was going to blow out a little bit. It's back to 3 goals. And there's plenty of time left in this game.
That's what we all wanted. Competitive game.
We saw a game similar to this at North Launceston and the Tigers earlier in the year, and the Tigers came back in the last quarter. Just couldn't quite get over the line. Let's see what happens here as Brady Jones is tackled to the ground. He's rolled in the tackle. Be another ball up. A bit gloomy here. No chance of rain.
Has Bailey gone into the ruck now?
Yeah, I think you're right, Hilsey. As Ponting gets a short kick, ineffective. Taken by Bannister, back to Ponting. Player there, Whitford tackled from behind. Over to Cousins, can't take it. Well done, James Holmes. Gathers it nicely towards Chris Neild. He's pursued by Connor Young. Connor Young does well against Neild. Wrestles the ball away. Still in contest. Neild does well this time. He tries to soccer it off the ground. All on the far side of the ground here. And that was a fair dinkum good contest between 2 players there.
Looked like both players were going to win it, and they managed to get a ball up.
Just repeating the Mercury Cup score today. The Bombers won by 72 points, so heading towards the finals. As here's Bart McCulloch with a handball to contest, not a great one. And it'll be another ball up. So in this quarter, we've seen North Launceston score 3 goals to 2. They had far more inside 50s. I look at Grubbs' sheet there, Hilsey.
Yeah, we're looking at 14-4 inside 50 count.
Clearances?
Clearances, we are 6 to North Launceston and 7 Clarence.
So still pretty even in that regard. Mentioned half-time, Webberley and Jones have been pretty good through the midfield. Fraser Turner's done his job as well. Bailey up against McCulloch. No one gets an effective tap out. Whitford gets it only as far as his fellow coach in Webberley. Over the back now is Rick DeSolder. Handball close to the boundary lines. Released. Rick DeSolder back to Sharman. Now that might be deliberate by Sharman. Yes, the umpire says so. The handball directly over the boundary line. So it's a free kick to Webberley. 25 minutes and 40 seconds, so not a long time to go. Crucial couple of minutes here as the ball is handed over to Seymour. Fletcher Seymour kicks close to the boundary line. Dickinson again, I think it is.
Great mark.
Ashton Dickinson. He's taken it. He's right on the boundary line. So he's kicked a couple. It's a tough shot. The Seagulls are hovering.
It's a team lifter, Dave. They need this one desperately. So fingers crossed here.
They've kicked the last 2 after the margin got out to 5 goals. So Ashton Dickinson right on the boundary line.
Tough for the
Kicks
left
with the left foot. It's across the face. It's out of bounds. And in fact, it sneaks through for a behind. So Clarence 7-4-46. North Launceston 9-9-63.
And we've played 26.5 minutes in this third term. Seagull count is 131. They're everywhere at the moment. As North Launceston will bring it on the broadcasting side of the ground. Thomas is a target. Can't take the mark. Ball at ground level, though. There's a lot of support there for the Bombers. Cousins has it, gets it over to Bannister. He's under the pump, but he's so big and strong that he just pushes off his opponent, kicks it in towards half forward. Running onto it there could have been Edgar, I think, at the bottom of the pack, and the Clarence player has bottled it up anyway, and there'll be... No, it was
Simpson, yep.
It was young Simpson, who's been pretty good today. He's about the same size. And there's the throw up there. Bart McCulloch gets it down in the Bannister direction. Umpire says you've thrown it. So we'll give a free kick to Clarence at half-back. Now, what will they do here? Will they switch it? Or will they go straight down the corridor?
Switch for sure.
Brady Jones with the ball. Well, in the dying minutes of the final of the third term, you think they'd go down the corridor the short way home and try and put another one on the ball before three-quarter time, but they don't. They go around that outer wing.
Got a number.
There's a mark out there, and then it's going over the top to Dickinson, who's been prominent in the last 4 or 5 minutes. He's marked it just inside the boundary line, 80 metres from goal, and he's got nothing on offer. Now he just chips it in to Webberley. And he marks no closer to goal, kicks it in the forward pocket position.
Neil.
And it's Chris Neal in the bright orange boots, who was marked at just on 50. The man on the mark will stand inside 50, so he'll have to kick it just outside 50. And it'll be a pretty good kick, because he'll have to kick it up towards the teeth of the goal. A little bit of breeze coming in across his right shoulder will help him and assist him if he can get it there. He's taking plenty of time, very deliberate. They've been good in the last 5 minutes. There's his kick to the top of the goal line. Goal umpire doesn't even move.
Beautiful.
Great goal. And Clarence are back in this game. 8 goals for. That'll be 52. North Launceston 9-9-63. The margin is back to 11 points at the 28.5 minute mark.
And he's probably atoned for that miss he had early in the quarter from the goal square.
Yeah, well,
that's a magnificent conversion.
Just imagine if he kicked the one he should have kicked, we'd be right back in it. But no, that was a great conversion from a very, very tough angle, 50 metres out.
It's a hard game to work out this, isn't it? You think it's going one way, the momentum, and then it shifts back the other. So
very strange.
Interesting game of footy. 1 versus 2 as the Seagulls swoop on at UTAS Stadium. We need one of those big hawks on the top of the grandstand to scare them off. As this is not a great bounce. We'll go back to the centre. Could only probably have a minute at the most, I reckon, in this third quarter. 29.5 minutes. Up it goes again. Down to the ground to Jones, who can't pick it up. Here's Webberley. Tackled by Thomas. In the back, says the umpire. So the last attacking thrust of the quarter might go to the Roos with Jeremy Webberley. Here looking for Jones. Great pass, Webberley. Jones takes the mark. He's got Turner to his right, but he goes short. Is this going to be 15? Yep, it is. Gabe Chambers.
Oh.
Gabe Chambers. The ball is in your hands.
Well, North kicked the goal after the siren at half-time, Dave.
So this would make it just 5 points. Margin was 10 points at half-time. It's 11 points now. Gabe Chambers, close to the man of the mark. Gets good purchase. It's through.
Oh.
What a massive goal right on three-quarter time for the Roos. Delivered by Gabe Chambers. And the margin is just 5 points as all the Clarence players get around Gabe and say, well done. We're right back in this. 9-9-63 to 9-4-58. It's three-quarter time.
I reckon they kicked 4 goals in the time one period, didn't they, Mitch?
I think they did, mate. And it was strange quarter of football. Like, North looked to be completely dominating games, slightly getting better in the way they're going about it. And Clarence, in the last part of that quarter, they played much more direct and fast football. They're able to get scores and a team lifting couple of goals there very late.
Baz, I can answer your question there. There were goals at the 21, 23, 28 and 30-minute mark. So, yep, they kicked the last 4 and they're back within 5 points. Goal kickers.
I think Booney, hold on, Baz. I think Booney scared them off again. Clarence have ran away from Craig Boone here and have taken their huddle inside 50 because they think he's part of the North Launceston crew, I'm sure of it.
Oh, dear. I think I could see Matthew McGee down there on the boundary line too, having a bit of a look. He had school soccer today. Anyway, Baz, goal kickers.
Goal kickers for the Northern Bombers. Tom Bennett has kicked 3. Bart McCulloch kicked a couple, and then singles to Sharon Edgar. Also, Bo Sharman, Jake Pearce and Taylor Whitford. And for Clarence, their multiple goal kickers are Chris Newell and Ashton Dickinson. They've both kicked 2 goals each. Singles to Gabe Chambers, Trent Standen, Jake Cox, Alex Silva, Jason Bailey.
There were 7 goals that quarter. North Launceston kicked the first 3. Clarence kicked the last 4. It's going to be a massive last quarter. Here's some messages from City Park Radio. We'll be back in just a moment.
Hi there, Andrew Doyle from the Kings Meadows.
Fitzgerald was there for City Park Radio and the TSL. Mate, what's going on down there?
Dave, it's still all one-way traffic down here at KG5 as Glenorchy piled on another 5 goals in that quarter. North Hobart yet to score a major. So the hosts have taken a 118-point lead into the final change. So Glenorchy lead 18-13, 121 to the Demons, just the 3 behinds on a really tough day for the club for sure.
Mate, the major goal kickers there?
The major goal kickers, Harry Parker popped up with 2 in that quarter to lead all comers with 4. Jay Bowden has 3, and Bailey Bester, Zach Webster have multiple goals and a host of singular goal kickers for the Pies.
And a tough last quarter coming up for the young Demons. Let's hope they can score a couple of goals.
Yeah, there was a big rev up at the final change there from all 3 of the coaches, so I'm sure that they're going to show a bit. The tackle pressure lifted in that quarter, so we'll see what they can come up with in this last term.
I suppose importantly, Alex, for Glenorchy, no major injuries to this stage?
Sorry, Dave?
No major injuries for the Magpies to this stage?
No major injuries at all, just a few knocks to the more lightly framed Demons at this stage.
Yep, no worries, mate. We'll hear from you again after the game.
No worries, Dave. Speak soon.
That's Alex Fitzgerald there at KG5. Still a big margin for the Pies there. Just might have a bit of a look there at the other game, where half-time the Tigers have been very inaccurate. So looking here towards start of the last quarter, it's Lauderdale 13-7-85, the Tigers 7-12-54, so a margin there of 31 points. What do you got for us AFL-wise, Hilsey?
The Tigers have kicked away at 10 minutes, nearly 11 minutes into the last. They're up by 23 against Collingwood, and down at GMHBA Stadium, 77 the Geelong Cats to Brisbane Lions 44.
Right, so it looks like a comfortable win there to the Cats. Well, I think that was the best quarter of the game, boys. I think it's really set up for a massive last quarter.
Well, we didn't expect it. We didn't think it was going to happen, and it set us up for a grandstand finish again, Dave.
Yep,
so hopefully we've had a few good ones lately, and hopefully we do get that. Clarence at the end of that quarter was terrific, and they've got to take light out of what they were able to do from the clearances and getting the ball forward quickly. And North, I don't know, are they susceptible? Are they beatable here? Well,
Hills, here's a bit of a stat. We'll go straight to the inside 50s in that quarter. North Launceston had 15-7, yet Clarence have outscored them. So 7 inside 50s, and they've scored the 4 goals 3. So they've scored just about every time they've gone inside 50.
Well, some accurate goal kicking certainly helped them, hasn't it?
Yep. So hit-outs, North Launceston still well in front, 47-19 with 13-6 that quarter. Clearances, Clarence got on top in that quarter, 9-6. But North Launceston still lead 27-17 over the course of the day. Marks inside 50 at 10 apiece to three-quarter time. Shots on goal, 19 to North Launceston, 13 to Clarence. And the free kicks are 24 to Clarence, 13 to North Launceston. Straight down to the boys on the boundary.
Oh boy, I've just come out of the North Launceston huddle, and that is probably as vocal as I've seen Taylor Whitford at any of the breaks. And he pretty much came in, from the siren there, and he was having a fair chirp. Basically, listening to a lot of the stuff there from some of the different line positions, especially in the forwards. Will Tatchell was very loud, and he had a few things to say. Wants every chance to bury their opponents because they said they were a bit soft, and they, walking around in the forward line, not sort of having that intensity. And Taylor Whitford even got around the group and was looking at players who had bad body language, trying to, pulling their arms out of they were crossed and things like that. So really interesting. His words basically, they took the foot off the pedal, and he doesn't want them to get comfortable. And this is he's been very disappointed with that happening a few times this year. Booney from Clarence.
Yeah, interesting one there. He mentioned that they watched a couple of videos the other night, and one of them was from Damien Hardwick about being a strong and bold club, which they're trying to be, and also mentioned Mackay Diva and feeling you can get the job done, and they feel they can get the job done in the last quarter.
Big last quarter coming up here at UTAS Stadium.
Cheers, boys. We're underway. Here's Barry Triffett.
Well, the first opportunity will go the way of North Launceston because the kick comes in towards Cousins. He's on centre wing on this side of the ground. He kicks it with a long, beautiful, raking left foot kick towards McCulloch. The umpire's found a free kick, and it will go to Taylor Whitford. Well, Taylor Whitford was obviously held back. I was watching McCulloch float in from the side, and I thought he might have been going to pluck it out of the air, but Whitford will get a free kick. What an opportunity here for the coach to set sail for the Cookies here in the final term. They're 5 points up of the Bombers. We've only played 40 seconds. We've just ticked over. There's only been 2 possessions. Whitford now, very deliberate, comes in, steers it, he likes it, pumps the air with his fist, opens up the margin to 11 points at the three-quarter minute of the opening of the final term. North Launceston 63, Clarence 58.
Coach's goal.
Yeah, it's a big one. They needed that. Steady the ship a little bit, and that's certainly a coach's goal. Winning the ball from the clearance there again, and Clarence need to hit back here early, I would imagine.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to give this game away till late in the piece because we've seen so many momentum shifts.
Dave, just a comment, Baz, you as well. What do you think about the light situation here? It's very dark out there, and there's no light still.
It is very dull, and I'm having trouble seeing it on the far side of the ground, to be honest. And there's the kick goes towards half forward for North. And a mark's been taken by Wiley. The umpire, another technicality in fact, it's 50 metres.
Yep, I think he might have encroached over the mark.
Oh, yeah, that just baffles me, that one, to be honest. Anyway, what do? You got to follow your man, don't you? If you do it deliberately, well, that's different. But if you're following your man, surely, to goodness, that's part of the game. There's the kick now, and it goes towards half forward. Someone will win a grand final by one of those silly decisions not too far into the future. There's a kick now, goes in towards half forward, ball goes to ground. Here's Clarence, there's a Clarence kick out of the... He might have been out of bounds. Yep. There's a lot of whistling going on. Umpires are talking to one another down there. I think the ball went out of bounds and they're going to throw it in. Yes, that is exactly what's going to happen. So it's just inside the 50-metre arc down there. Clarence are attacking. They're going to the Invermay Park end in this final term. 2.5 minutes in. They trail 58-69. As the throw-in comes in, and it goes towards the big bulky Bailey. Ball goes to ground level. There'll be a secondary toss up there, which has happened on many occasions today from the boundary throw-ins down in that forward pocket, and yet again another one.
A lot of players around the contest. Ryan Bailey up against Lee. Lee gets it to Walsh, who's tackled. Might have been tackled without it in the end, but anyway, it's play on. Fraser Turner, impressive. Gets it to Cox, who's tackled by Mansell. Vice-like tackle. And I think umpires penalised Cox on this occasion. Ryan Mansell will take the free kick on the far side of the ground in front of the scoreboard. Gets it to Jackie Avent. Ever reliable in that back line for North Launceston. He's without his mate Jay Foon today, as we heard there at half time. He might be back this year, but unlikely. As now it's a free kick going the way of Alex Lee as Baz shakes his head. Handball off to Ponting. Ponting goes short to Taron Thomas, who marks on the wing. The lights are off, but can Taron light things up here as it goes in towards the attacking 50, almost a mark to Bennett. Will it be a free kick to Tom Bennett? Umpire comes in and says yes, it will be.
There's a lot of whistles, Baz. What's going on out there?
Why wasn't that advantage?
Oh, no idea.
That was another question, but I think it might have been over the shoulder there. Anyway, Bennett's got another chance for a goal. He's kicked, how many kicked today, Baz? I think he kicked three, one in each quarter.
He's been a factor, standing tall. When Thomas gets the ball, something generally happens, Dave. I know you know that.
Yep.
Too well.
So this is a very similar position to what we saw in the previous quarter, but he's kicked it out of bounds on the full as it fades off to the left. So an opportunity missed. They lead by 11 points. 10-9-69 North Launceston. Clarence 9-4-58. Short kick comes out. Mark taken there. I think that's Keegan Wiley on the far side. Yes, it is. The number 7. Wiley goes up the line. Chance for a big mark for Jason Bailey. Umpire picks out another free kick, this time to Lee. In the marking contest, Alex Lee, couple of kicks out from goal. He's going to launch long, looking for Bennett once. Bart McCulloch this time. He can't take the mark at the full as Ponting. Little handball away. Shot on goal is off the side of the boot. Marked, I think that's Chris Neild back in defence, taking the mark for Clarence. Right near the left, or the right behind post. Neild, lovely long left foot kick. Up here towards Castle in a wrestle with Egger. In fact, it's Callum Harrison, beg your pardon. And Harrison will take the free kick. At the front position. Thinks about the handball. Kicks beautifully here towards McCulloch. Lace out. Didn't have to break stride. The late inclusion today, Callum Harrison for Brad Cox-Goodger. And the space was inside 50.
Yeah, well, a great kick from Harrison. He sort of drew the forward when Bart McCulloch to the footy, so that's an excellent kick. But if you're Clarence and the ball was where it was, you'd be really disappointed to leave that much space where they had it. It
was all about the kick in the end, and it was absolutely perfect. Bart McCulloch, he's kicked a couple of goals today. One off the ground. Here he comes to give a bit of an advantage here to North Launceston. He's done it. The experience there of Bart McCulloch converts his third goal, and the margin now out to 17 points. 11-9-75, Clarence 9-4-58. Great skills there. I mean, it shows the depth of the competition a bit. Hilsey, you've got young Callum Harrison. He's been in and out of the senior side, but that was a very elite sort of kick.
Yeah, well, I think you're right. Less teams in the comp, but it means that we've got a little bit more depth going through some of these teams. And when you've got North versus Clarence and some guy can step up from the Development League, the Mercury Cup, to do stuff like that, it's exciting. 6.5
minutes in, you'll listen to City Park Radio 103.7, 96.5. Here's Baz.
This game has ebbed and flowed all day. Don't write Clarence off just yet. Thomas gets the kick, kicks it out towards the half-forward line, far side of the ground. Running onto it there is the Clarence player who's been thrown to the ground with the ball, and umpire said you had no prior opportunity, so we'll toss it up just outside the 50-metre semicircle. North going to the town end in the final term. Slight breeze going across the ground more so than that end. Here's Jones with the ball, Cox rather with the ball, throws it away, and then he's thrown away and we'll get a free kick. Here's an opportunity now for Clarence to go into their forward line. They haven't done that all that often in this final term. And he's finally picks the ball up now, breaks away from that player from North laying on the ground, and then got belted to the ground after he kicked the ball down towards the half-forward line. So there'll be a free kick.
It's against Bannister Baz on Jake Cox there.
And the free kick will go the way of Jason Bailey, who kicked a lovely goal in the third quarter, and almost from this distance. So don't write him off. This is an opportunity. He fancies himself. He's gone back and pulling up the socks. He'll kick from just outside 50, probably 51. Now, the wind has really dropped away. The windsock over on the end of the grandstand there's almost lying limp at the moment. So if he kicks it to the left-hand goal post, a real good opportunity. There's his kick. He's gone to the right-hand goal post and has swung towards the behind area. But a mark.
Push.
No, there's been a push.
Yeah, against the big ruckman there, Ryan Bailey.
Giving away a lot of free kicks.
Oh, there's the kick in. That hasn't travelled 15 metres, surely, because it's only a 10-metre square, isn't it? And he's standing almost on the point of the square. But Cousins has the ball anyway, and away he goes with the left foot boot. He kicks it out wide looking for his teammate. I thought he was heading for Ponting, but he's got support out there anyway, and the kick comes in towards the corridor. And Cox runs onto it, and a pretty good player twists, turns, puts it over here looking now for Jones. Jones marks in the corridor about 80 metres from goal, kicks it to a Clarence player in the goal square. It's been socked off the ground by the big fella Bailey, is it?
Yep.
And there's a goal to Clarence, and that's at the 8 3/4 minute mark of the final term there. 9 goals for 58. North Launceston 11-9, that's 75. In fact, that wasn't. I was too quick for the scoreboard. It's 10 goals for 64. North Launceston 11-9, 75. 11 points the margin.
They're still in it. Still a chance.
Great agility by the big man there, Hilsey.
Yeah, it was great. Newell had a lot of space inside 50. You don't often see that North Launceston defences. Maybe the lack of Foon and some experienced players down there, but Newell was standing in the goal square 20 metres by himself. It was good to see Jones be really direct. They need to attack and they need to kick goals, so they've got to go straight as quickest way home.
He's been good today, Brady Jones. Goal there to Ryan Bailey back in the middle. We've got a contest on again. 11 points is the margin. We've got a incorrect disposal free kick. It's going to go to North Launceston. Ponting has had lots of possessions today. So he goes up towards half 40, looking for Bennett. He has the front position. Great spoil in front by Holmes. Good work. Kick off the ground there by Egger, along the ground. Up here towards Whitford. Leads in the chase for the ball. Falls to ground. Stacks on. Ball up about 40 metres from the Clarence goal. North Launceston goal, I beg your pardon. It's 11 points the difference. 11-9 plays 10-4. Thanks to our sponsors, Andrew Doyle, Telstra Stores, Quadrant Mall and Kings Meadows. Beautiful tap out from McCulloch. Can't find Bannister. He's back on it again, Bannister. Tatang tries to break a tackle. Might have been penalised and will be. He tried to break the tackle and it was a vice-like one from Tim Castle. He zooms away. He gets the kick to half-back. Wiley, short now to James Brenner. Quiet today. James Brenner takes his time. He'll be invited to play on now. Funny old kick, poor one, straight to Walsh. Handball straight away to Bannister. Kick's not great either. Keegan Wiley again, gets round. Goes the big torp, does Keegan Wiley towards half forward. Oh, nice mark by Richmond, the young fella. In the side this week. He switches it beautifully towards Jake Cox, who doesn't have to break stride. He gets round onto his left. 48 out, Jake Cox delivers for goal. It's not going to quite make the distance, and it's marked on the line there by Zach Burt. He plays on, looking here for Connor Young, who's under pressure. Takes a strong mark. And then he in turn goes short to Sharman, who marks inside defensive 50.
Yes, Sharman with the left boot, chips over the top there now, looking for Tang. And he marks on centre wing, far side of the ground. Looks to go through the corridor, and he sees a teammate there, and he gets it on to him. And it's Egger, who's moved well up the field, gets it over a little bit further now to Cousins. He puts it on the left boot, and it's a beautifully weighted pass to Bennett. And the big fella, what a focal point he is up forward for North. He's been a great contributor up there again today. He's already kicked 3 goals, and you think he's got a big opportunity here to kick his 4th and perhaps give North the lead that Clarence won't be able to peg back, because it's 64-75 at the moment. 12 minutes into this final term. Tom Bennett's kicked a goal in each of the quarters. There's his kick in the 4th quarter, and he's got one in every quarter. 4 goals, the leading goal kicker on the ground, Tom Bennett. And North Launceston now move along to 12 goals, 9, 81, and Clarence at 10-4, 64.
Classic North Launceston play from half back there, Hilsey.
It was. We haven't seen a heap of it today, but they've got the confidence and the belief. They know they've got the skill level to execute the game plan they're trying to do, and they've got the confidence that they've got forwards that can give them a contest. And maybe we can't say the same about Clarence.
I know we said it earlier this season, but it's great to see Jordan Cousins playing at this level. I mean, just his skill level is pretty good. His speed and agility as well.
He should have been playing at this level for a number of years. He's a great player, and he's been a really handy pickup for North.
As we have a secondary ball up. Still about probably 17, 18 minutes to go in this game. So 3 goals is not insurmountable. And we've seen some twists and turns already. Can we see another one? Back in the middle. As the player tackled to the ground. The umpire has got all the body language to suggest it will be holding the ball.
Jeremy Webley gave him no choice.
That's right. Free kick, Gabe Chambers. Gets it over to Webley. Long now to Holmes by hand. We're at half back for Clarence. He goes short. Mark's taken on the far side. So, short little kick there. I think that might be Brenner who's given it back to Webley.
Slow play, isn't it?
Is indeed. Webley has a look forward. Goes the low kick and a good one too. Finds Harper. Jared Harper has played a fair bit of footy now with Clarence. Kicks up towards attacking 50. Victor Solder with a big fist away. Close to the boundary line. Richmond's there. Beats him over the boundary line. 12-9-81. Clarence 10-4-64. Other winners definitely today will be Glenorchy and most likely Lauderdale. As Hilsey reaches to the phone for an AFL update at the next stoppage. Boundary throw in. As we hear the siren there at Infirmay Park. The ground adjacent to this one. Callum Harrison, little kick round the corner to space. James Holmes takes it, releases the handball only as far as Walsh. Head down, no free kick. Long handball from Whitford's a good one to Bennett. Tries to kick around the corner, smothered. Holmes to Turner to Webley. Now he kicks it towards attacking 50. Nice mark again, Callum Harrison. He might keep his spot on the side at this rate. He's been impressive. And he's marked left half back. He goes long up the line. No short options. Bennett's there. Rove by Walsh at the front. Nice handball releases Whitford. Further on now towards Egger, who will use his pace. One bounce. Kick towards Jake Pearce. Over the back. It's a nice spoil there by Keegan Wiley. Out of play. Boundary throw in. Attacking 50. Take it over, Baz.
15 minutes final term. The margin is 17 points. 81 plays 64. Northern Bombers lead. About to be thrown in right on the 50-metre semicircle. Bombers going to the town end in the final quarter. Plenty of directions coming from the 2 field umpires down there in charge at the moment. It's taken out of the air there by the player in Pearce. He kicks it along to the top of the goal square, but there's a mark in the last line for Clarence. And the kick out of defence comes to the scoreboard, the broadcasting side of the ground rather. Picking it up quickly there was Brenner. Gets it onto his teammate. The ball comes around on in front of us on the broadcasting position here, and a nice mark has been taken by Neild. And the bright fluoro orange boots chips it over the top. Oh, he set it up. Almost a clash there for Jared Harper, but he's just too strong. He marks on centre wing. Now they need to get a bit of a wriggle on here, Clarence, and he pops it up as well. There's a wall of North Launceston players. And Lee just strolls in, the big tall ruckman, and just marks it over his head. Said, I really don't want to kick it, so I'll give it off to Walsh. Walsh kicks it straight into the middle of the field. Taken away by Sharman. Sharman kicks it out wide. North Launceston now go down towards their half-forward line. The chip over the top is looking for and almost finding Egger there in the forward pocket, but the ball thumped away from him by the Clarence defence and it'll go out of bounds. There'll be a throw in.
I've got an extraordinary development. We're about 20 minutes into the last quarter at Lauderdale. Tigers only trail by 5 points. They've kicked 5 goals to 0 in the last quarter. Keep an eye on that one. It's 86-81.
Boil over. AFL scores Richmond about to win by 28 points over the Pies, and Cats are 37 points up over the Lions.
Ball's been thrown in at UTAS Stadium. Clarence playing North Launceston. It's in North Launceston's forward zone. It's kicked away out of defence though by Matt Ling. Kicks it towards the outer wing. It's Rick the Soldier who takes the mark out there and then kicks in towards Edgar. 1 grab, 2 grabs of the cherry and marked 40 metres from goal deep on the boundary line forward pocket. Been a good player again all day. He didn't like his chances, so he just handballs off to Walsh, who was standing there next to him, who just has a long bomb from 50 metres out, but it just manages to sneak through for a behind. So it'll be 3 straight goals of difference now. The kick-in goes to Brennan on half-back. He kicks over the top here, looking for young Fraser Turner. Turner marks it and then runs onto the right boot. He's got Neil, though. Neil grabs it for the second occasion. He's thrown to the ground. Events in there. So too is Donnelly, and the ball will be bottled up just outside the semicircle, going into the half-forward line there for Clarence. And we've played 18 minutes of this final term. 82 North, 64 Clarence. From the throw up, it's thumped down to nobody in particular, but Whitford ends up with it. It comes off the top of the pack, and then he kicks it towards the player in Tang. Thumped away from him. Clarence take the ball at ground level. Quick handballs by Cunliffe out there to his teammate. Kick goes into where Zach Bird has played in defence all day today for North Launceston, takes the mark in the last line. Quick to play on, goes in the Whitford direction. Tang applies the shepherd for him. Whitford now has plenty of time to steady and kick it into Ponting. Ponting's in the centre square. Been a good player for the Bombers today, and this is a beautifully weighted kick as well towards Sharman. Also played well for the Bombers. Runs onto his left boot, and his kick's better still to Thomas. And Thomas marks 25 metres from goal, almost directly in front. Well, Burt cut off that attacking move, and North Launceston took total control and moved it around to where Thomas will have a deliberate shot.
You're right, Baz. That's where it started. Chain of possessions.
And a quality chain of possessions. It's been the difference today is that the skill execution of both sides. North's definitely been telling the better execution.
Well, Tarrant Thomas had a fantastic opening term, and he's just kept on playing fairly steady throughout and caps his game off with a goal at the 19.25 minute mark of the final term. North Launceston, perhaps they've just put the first nail in the coffin. They've gone to 13-10-88. Clarence 10-4-64.
We did see Clarence kick, 4 goals in about this amount of time in the third quarter, but to repeat it, Hillsey, would be a big ask.
Well, it's been that sort of game all day, hasn't it? So we hope it happens. We want to see a thriller, but it doesn't look likely at the moment.
Well, I'm going to talk about the lights here as well. If we can turn the lights on for training, surely for a TSL, Tasmanian State League game, we can have the lights on here at UTAS Stadium.
Mate, we can hardly see the players out here. They really need to have the lights on at this stage in a TSL game.
Alex Lee gets it down here towards Bannister. Quick kick by Bannister. Goes sideways.
Could get the hammer, Foz.
It might indeed. Here comes Ponting. Loved his game today. No influence on you, Hillsey, for the 3-2-1. Over here towards Brady Jones. Taken by Egger, also been good. Towards Tang. He's tackled by 2. He's the Tangster. And it's going to be a ball up on the far side.
We've got more light up here in the commentary box from Matthew McGee than the players have out in the ground at the moment. Disgraceful.
As comes now towards Ponting, kicks straight up in the air. It's anybody's ball. Cox gets a hand to it. Out here towards Cousins. Cousins gets it to Simpson. Little kick inside 50. Williamson there. Tang, though, back on the ball. Tang up against Holmes. Holmes does well. Or does he? No, he doesn't. He's infringed against Michael Tang. So Michael Tang will go back and shoot for goal. From about 40 out, 45-degree angle, left-hand side. And this will definitely seal the deal for North Launceston. And what's been a big arm wrestle this afternoon. They've just shown a bit more poise and class in this last quarter. But I've seen enough from Clarence today to say they will be a big contributor to the final series. Michael Tang from 40, close to the man of the mark, keeps it pretty low. Distance is a worry. And there's a fingertip on it there from that Ryan Edmondson. Touch through for a behind. So North Launceston 13-11-89, Clarence 10-4-64.
Yes, and with the dull light and the fence lighting up all the time, that's taking your eye off things as well. I wonder what it cost to run that fence in comparison to putting the lights on. There's the handball over the top there now, and it's taken away out on the outer wing there by Matt Ling. He kicks it towards the half forward. Somebody's got it there. I can't tell you who, but the ball has been adjudicated as thrown out, and it's taken by Thomas, who kicks towards Walsh, who just goes about his work. Not outstanding. He just does what he has to do. He was always there as a link man, and he kicks it over the top to Beau Sharman. Been very impressed with his game today. And Sharman will tap off a fairly good game if he should manage to kick this deep into the final term. 22.25 minutes. And he'll kick from right on 50. He fancies himself. He runs the clock down. 89 plays 64. Bo Sharman kicks the ball right on 50. Kicks it a little bit high. It won't make the distance. Almost a good mark to Bart McCulloch. He plays onto the back of the pack. The umpire's found a free kick down. It could go the Clarence way.
Yeah, I think he said
50.
Yeah.
Now it's 50 metres.
I think he said the player in the front of the contest might have taken the mark. Hilsey, was that the adjudication, I think?
I'm not sure if it was in the back or he paid the mark to the front player and then Bart's kicked the ball for a goal, resulting in 50. Classic Bart McCulloch.
Just back on play there, that tackle by Taron Thomas on Williamson, that's classic Taron. He's very hard at the tackling game, isn't he?
He's an excellent tackler. It's something you don't see in many young players. Ryan Mansell's another good one, but his technique and his willingness to tackle is outstanding.
Short kick from Cunliffe finds Neild. About 5 or 6 minutes left. 25 points the margin. Nice kick. Jason Bailey's there. Off hands. Chance for Silver. Oh, somebody dived in there with a heroic effort. Spoilt the kick. Thanks, Silsey. As it's kicked out of defence now, but only as far as Keegan Wiley. Is that a bit of it? His short kick's not bad. Chance here for Clarence. Ball taken there by Chambers. Kick for goal on the run, Gabe Chambers. It's his second. He kicked an important one on three-quarter time.
Here we go.
And he's kicked one late in this last quarter. I think it might be a firecracker. It's been a little bit too late in this game. But we'll wait and see. Gabe Chambers. Nice finish. Didn't have a lot of time to think about it.
Plenty of time, Dave. 2 or 3 more. Let's go.
Okay, he's trying to talk it up for our radio and stream.
We've got to talk
viewers
it
and
up.
listeners.
We've got to talk it up because if they're watching, they wouldn't be able to see the game.
That's right. True. But we've seen so many twists in this game already, Hilsey, that we wouldn't rule anything out at the moment.
No.
13-11-89, 11-4-70. 2 goals to Gabe Chambers.
24.25 minutes in the final term. The umpire very deliberate with the bounce down. Here he comes. And it's a perfect bounce. And it's taken out of the air there by Bailey. He gets it out and kicks it out wide looking for Turner. Turner can't take the mark, but the North Launceston player can. And he'll relieve on half-back. There's his kick towards Lee in the centre square. Lee will chip it over the top here looking for a vent. He runs onto it. Traps it nicely now. What's he got on offer as he looks down? There's not a great deal, so he just kicks it in towards Bart McCulloch, who's back behind his opponent. But somehow he out-muscled Williamson, and he marked it 40 metres from goal deep in the forward pocket. Now, there's no doubt about it. The big fella will go back and have a deliberate shot for goal here. He's already kicked 3 today. Thought he'd kick 4 only about 2 minutes ago.
Bit of me time for McCulloch. There's a good forward craft there, just nudging his opponent Williamson under the ball.
No, he's going to take a short pass, and it's not a good one. It's bounced in front of his teammate in Bannister down there, so that allows the Clarence defenders in numbers to get the ball out through Ling. He's kicked it deep out onto the half-back line there, and it's taken by Fraser Turner, one of their better players,
50.
Who's going to get another 50. There's been a few 50s in the game today, half a dozen or so, I'd imagine. You don't see them like we used to.
That can't have been anything other than encroaching over the mark, because there's no other players in the vicinity.
He stepped forward, but he did it in response to the player taking off. So it's I don't know, it's unfair, but it is what it is.
Well, someone's got it over there. I think it's
got it again.
Young Fraser Seymour who got it, Fletcher Seymour who got it over the top, but it's gone back to where North have marked inside their defensive zone. And I know North have got it. I can tell it's a North jumper, but I tell you what, I'm having trouble picking up who's got it, but Cousins has got it now, I think. So he'll kick a long raking left foot. Doesn't he kick the ball beautifully? No exception on this occasion. He gets it towards Walsh. The numbers are over the back, though, through Williamson for the Clarence side. Can they do something late in the quarter? Can they keep in it? There's the kick there now to Chambers. Chambers kicks it off. It's gone about 105 metres in the air and about 20 along the ground, but it falls to the base of the pack where a Clarence player pounces on it, kicks it to the running Chambers, who's run right down from that previous kick, kicks it deep in towards the forward pocket, and that looks like Burt has marked it in the last line as he kicks it out of defence towards Tom Bennett. There was a long way down from the forward zone. The siren sounds, though, And this enthralling encounter has been stitched up by North Launceston in the final term. Their run-out winners 13-11, 89 to Clarence 11-4, 70. The goal kickers for the Northern Bombers, Tom Bennett was their major contributor with 4. Bart McCulloch finished with 3. Taylor Whitford kicked 2 and a vital one in the opening minute of the last term. Singles then to Jake Pearce, Bo Sharman, Taryn Thomas and Sharon Edgar. Whilst for Clarence, their major contributors were Gabe Chambers and Ashton Dickinson, both kicked 2 apiece, and so too did Chris Neild. And singles to Trent Standen, Ryan Bailey, Jake Cox, Alex Silver and Jason Bailey.
Some quick thoughts, Hilsey, before we go back for some messages.
Well, it was an interesting game. It was very up and down, and we couldn't really pick what was happening. We thought, Clarence had the ability to sort of strike back there, but they ran out of time. So North Lonnie, I guess we tipped them at the start of the game, and they were able to prove too strong. Were they convincing? Definitely not. Do Clarence still have a shot at it? You'd have to say yes, but probably wasn't. The game never really hit high standards today, and which we were probably expecting. But the difference in the game was probably the target forwards. I think, boys. If you look at both teams, when Clarence were able to get the ball, they probably went a little bit too slow. They got their goals from when they were able to move the ball fast. They decided to move the ball slow on most occasions and struggled to kick a score. Whereas North, when they had possession of the ball, were looking to move the ball quickly and get it to their key forwards who really provided a target. I love the game from Bennett and Bart McCulloch today, and they proved the difference.
Absolutely, and there's hope for Clarence though. I mean, they've been more than competitive today. They've taken up twice to North Launceston before this, and you'd say today, once again, for large periods of the game, they showed that they can match the Bombers. Yeah,
I mean, for the benefit of the comp, you have to keep saying that every team can beat North, but they keep just proving too good. It's year after year. I'm getting sick of the same thing, to be honest, but they're just too good. They're a strong club, and they just keep... There's a lot of young players in this team, and they're learning from the senior players about the culture of this club, and they just keep getting better and better. So, I don't know, it's going to be on the other teams, and they're pushing, and they're trying to reach North, but they're not able to get there.
Okay, we're about to finish up our live stream here at UTAS Stadium, so we'll finish up now and... just repeat the final score, 13-11, 89. For North Launceston, they've defeated Clarence at 11-4, 70. Farewell to our stream viewers, and we'll continue after this break for City Park Radio.